This is the 2024 GMC Sierra 1500 Denali Ultimate. Is this the truck that has it all? Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. I borrowed this truck from my friends at Morgan Buick GMC here in Shreveport, Louisiana to tell you all about it and give you the information to answer the question that I phrased in the title of the video. The exterior color on this truck is onyx black. It has an alpine umber interior. We'll take a closer look at all of this later in the video, but I did want to go ahead and show you what we have here as far as the exterior and the interior goes. And as far as lighting goes on this truck, by the way, you can find out more about this truck via the link down in the description of the video. I wanted to make sure I told you that. If you talk to somebody here at the dealership, tell them that Tom from Vehicle Visionary sent you. So we're going to start out with our auto high beam IntelliBeam LED headlights, LED daytime running lights. You also had the fog lights down there on the lower portion of the bumper. I didn't turn those on, but they are right down here. And a combination of chrome, and you're going to have that unique to this trim level grille as far as the color goes, and the GMC logo, not in red. So if you're saying to yourself, if I'm going to buy a GMC truck, I don't want a red logo on the front end, here's your option. And going back to the headlights, because I know some people ask me about this, you'll notice that kind of flickering, shimmering effect right there. That only happens when you look through the lens of a GoPro. So it's not actually happening, in other words. So when it comes down to it, let's talk about some functionality here. We have the tow hooks here on the front end. You'll also find your forward-facing camera. And if you're wondering what this is, that is your front camera washer. It sprays a stream of windshield washer fluid across the camera, and you don't really have to do anything special to make that happen. Every time you run the windshield washer fluid on cleaning your windshield, it's also going to activate the front camera washer. And as far as your tire and wheel size goes, let's talk a little bit about that. We're going to have 275 on our width, plentiful width and tread, a 50 series sidewall, wrapped around the 20-inch wheels. And something that I really like here is the fact that there's a lot of lighting all over the truck. LED lighting here with the side view mirrors that are power folding, power adjustable, all that good stuff. The chrome mirror caps here. You'll have your blind spot monitoring where that's concerned. We'll also have the chrome door handles here. And this button, when you have the remote on your person, that's when you can use that button. It's called passive entry. So you push that button to lock or unlock all four doors. Speaking of the remote, here it is. You can see what all is here. The most popular thing that I know a lot of you like to see on these remotes, right there, remote start. Now we do have the power assist steps right here, kind of multifunctional in a couple of ways. So when you open the doors, obviously those are going to deploy, and when you close the doors, they go back under the truck, and there is a way to keep them deployed if you're washing your truck. So that's a good thing. I'll try and remember to show that to you later in the video. But there's another way you can do that besides using the option in the infotainment screen, and that's the button right here. You can just kick that button with your foot, but here's what happens when you do that. It moves the step back. And that's one way you could keep those deployed if you need to clean them when you're washing the truck, or just gain access to the front portion of the bed right here without having to jump all the way back in. And then we kick that button and it goes back under the truck. The steps go back under the truck. And we'll also find LED taillights. This truck does have adaptive cruise control. And if you're wondering, how can I tell if a truck has adaptive cruise control from the exterior? There is a way to do it. It has to do with the look of the bumper. And the easiest way to know that is to look at the size of your bumper steps right here. Normally, they would go up further and be a little bit deeper into the bumper, but there's not enough room because of all of the technology built into this bumper back here. And we'll also have the cab light up there, more LED lighting right here. And one more place where you'll find that normally the LED in-bed lighting would be back in this section, but instead in this case, it's going to be right there above the fender well. As you can see, that's going to be located on both sides. And don't worry, I heard your request. You want to see these power folding side view mirrors in action. So I'm going to push this button right here, and there you go. The power folding side view mirrors not only fold into place, we'll unfold those, and I'll wave at you with the camera here as it goes by and shows me in the mirror. And one thing I know from comments some of you have left in my previous Denali Ultimate videos here on these 1500 Sierras is that you don't realize that there are two engine options. You can go with a 3-liter turbo diesel if so desired, or what we have here, the 6.2-liter naturally aspirated. If you don't like turbochargers, this is a good option for you, the 6.2-liter V8. 420 horsepower, the torque numbers come in at 460. It's mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission. And how about your MPGs? We're looking at 15 city, 19 highway, 16 combined. And with that 6.2 V8 under the hood, you have 6.2 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. That is a pure coincidence, by the way. And for this particular truck, we're looking at 1,820 pounds for your payload, up to 9,000 pounds on your towing capacity. And let's take a look at the MultipRO tailgate. For those of you who are not familiar with this particular style of tailgate, here's what you can do with it. You can use it as a conventional style tailgate. You can also lift this area up to use as a bed extender. If you need something that will fit that can butt up against this area, that's good. That's going to be helpful, but by no means is that all you can do. So here's what we're going to do, is we're going to hold this button down on the top. That allows us to drop this area. That can be used as a table. You can use it in a multitude of different ways, as you can see. And it actually offers a second option as a bed extender, as you can see right here. And that's not all. Kind of sounds like an infomercial, but I most certainly don't mean for it to be, but that's the case. Now, one thing I really like here, whether or not GMC intended this to be the case, I'm sure they likely did, but kind of like we talked about bringing those power assist steps back to where you can gain access to the front of the bed. Well, in a way, you can do the same thing back here by, once again, lowering this area. So all you have to do is lower that, and then look at that. You have access without having to actually get into the bed pretty far in there. Depending on how long your arms are, you can go pretty deep. And you do have 12 tie downs, 3 in the front, 3 in the rear on both sides. We'll have a power outlet back here, and we're not finished yet. If you need to gain access to the bed and you need to get inside, here is your step. You even have a grab handle right here that I find getting in you don't really need. Everybody's different, no big deal if you need it. And you can also use that getting out. Now you will find in this case you also have the kicker audio system. And there's one more important thing to tell you about. And that one important thing has to do with if you have a ball down here for your trailer hitch, and you come up to the truck and maybe you open this area and then you go to lower it down, well, guess what? It's going to slam into the ball down there, isn't it? Well, watch this. Notice that nothing is happening. See that? So how did I make that happen? Well, what I did was I held this button down, and I'm going to let you see what happens here with the lights. You're going to notice that your tail lights are going to flash. You're going to hold that down for just a few seconds, and then the tail lights, well, there they go. Just takes a little while for those to flash. Now, what's going to happen is now I can open this area up. So that's how you can prevent that from being a problem if you're concerned about it. And let's take a look at the interior, starting here with the back seat area. A comfortable armrest, at least when I put my arm up there for the armrest test, it seems that way. Your baseball style stitching right here, the white contrast stitching and the piping right here. Should that be a different color? Tell me down in the comments section what you think about that. And one advantage to this truck of many is the fact that you have a nice long cab. That means there's plentiful space for your rear seat passengers, and the transmission tunnel, not very tall, so that means whoever gets stuck in that middle seat right there will be more comfortable than they would be otherwise. And if you're going off-road or into a place where people's shoes, their boots are going to be dirty, well, guess what? You can take out these carpeted inserts right here. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. There we go. You can unsnap all 4 of those. I'm just going to do one, but that takes these carpeted inserts out. And you also have space underneath both sides. Both seats do flip up the seat cushions there, and you can gain access to the tools to change a tire if you need to. The truck does come with a spare tire. But that's not the only place where storage is found. In addition to that tire, the jack, the tools for changing the tire, everything that's there. But you also have the in-seat storage right here on both sides, very useful, and the nifty grab handle that allows it to be super easy to get into the truck. Pockets on the rear of both seats, cup holders. There are the air conditioning vents, the buttons for controlling the heated seats back here, and a couple of options as far as connectivity goes. And you do have the fold-down armrest right here with more cup holders built in. There are so many cup holders back here. And then the rear window defogger, and you do have a power sliding rear window. Now, the one thing that I think a lot of people might say is missing here has to do with this area of the truck. It just depends on who you are. You don't have a panoramic sunroof option, at least not yet. Maybe down the road we'll see that for those of you who want such a thing in these Sierra pickups. But you do have the option of a conventional size sunroof. It does slide and tilt open. And for those of you who are clamoring saying, what's the price, Tom? $88,219.95. If you come in to buy this truck from Morgan Buick GMC, I promise I will give you the 95 cents. You don't even have to pay me back. Let's see what else you get for that price. If you made it to this point in the video, you might as well laugh. Same thing as what we saw with the rear doors. And one thing I didn't talk about, in fact, we'll run back here and just take a look real fast, is you have your nice large door bins, not only on the rear doors, but here on the front as well. So a lot of storage capacity here. And the same basic setup we saw with your floor mats here. And then we're also going to have a lot of storage space with the upper and the lower glove boxes. As you can see, we'll close those back up. And here are the seats. Very comfortable, power adjustable. And they also have right here the massage function. They're also heated and ventilated. So a lot going on here, a little bit more storage right here on the side of the center console. We'll have our one-touch buttons right here. You can probably figure out what is what as far as all that's concerned. Quite a bit of storage, including this area right here. A little more connectivity right here. Cup holders and your shifter. Some people like this shifter right here. Some people would rather have it on the shifter, or the steering column, I should say. Tell me which person you are. And plentiful space within the center console. You have the removable tray here that does increase space, or you could just leave that out if you so desired. Quite a bit of space within, more connectivity in the way of USB and the power outlet right there. And for those who maybe haven't looked at these trucks for the last couple of years, and you might say, well, what happened to the wireless charging pad that used to be in this area? You probably already saw it. It's now located right here. You literally just drop your phone in, deposit it in, and you're good to go. Here on the driver's side door, you're gonna find, well, most of what you would expect, and maybe a little more. The controls for all 4 windows. You already saw what's here, and you can control your side view mirror positioning right there. You'll also find 2 settings for seat memory right here. And obviously the same controls and switches here for the driver's seat. Here you'll find your drive mode selector and everything for controlling the lights on the exterior of the truck. The steering wheel is adjustable tilt and telescopically. It is power adjustable, and right here the control for the head-up display, everything from where it's positioned, the information you see, and the brightness. And if you need to turn your auto high beams on or off, the button is right here to do that. So let's hop inside and take a look at the animated graphics that come up on the screen. It's part of what you pay for, so I'm going to show it to you just because it's here. I know a lot of people aren't too worried about that, but we'll run through that very quickly just so you can see what is here. And we'll fire up the truck. And you can see right here, you do have your Super Cruise. So that's semi-autonomous driving. That way the truck can drive itself. You can set the speed. The truck will change lanes automatically. It drives better than some of you do because it also uses its blinker. And yes, we know that we're in OnStar. Let's see if we can get that out of the way. Sorry about that. But it does do a lot of things for you. Very easy to deal with. So one thing that I know a lot of people have asked me about in the past has to do with this 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster. Can you get rid of the image of your truck over here? Which, by the way, we are in sport mode. We'll change that to normal. And that's something very interesting. if you'll notice what we just did right there. So you have off-road, normal, and sport, but did you notice that it came up in sport mode? That's one thing you don't have with all vehicles. When you turn the ignition off, whatever driving mode you were driving in when you turn the ignition off, the truck doesn't go back to normal. Kind of nice to know. Now, how about changing the look of this instrument cluster? We're going to arrow over right here and use the scroll wheel right here to dial through and push that to select whatever it is we want. So let's say we wanted to look at display layout. And let's say we wanted to go from classic to digital. All I did was push down on that scroll wheel, and there is the look. Now, if you want to change individual areas, here's how we do that. The left side, the right side, the lower gauges. You can see what all is here, info, pages, units, and all that stuff. Now, if you get to a point where you say to yourself, I really don't like what I've done here, can I reset? There is reset to defaults. You can do that right there. We'll just arrow over to yes, and there we go. Problem solved. And then you can just start all over again. And I don't know how well you can see the head-up display, but it is there. You can go through a lot of different information on the windshield, we'll say. I almost said screen, but it's not really a screen, is it? I guess it's being used as a screen, but there it is. You also have your paddle shifters right here. And one more thing, going back to Super Cruise, you'll notice what you have right here. Now, the good thing about Super Cruise, let's just say something unusual happens when you're driving down the road and maybe the driver becomes incapacitated or falls asleep. The seat's going to vibrate. You're going to get a red indicator right here. And if the driver doesn't respond by the second attempt to get them to respond, the truck will actually move over to the furthest lane to the right, and at a very gradual rate. It is extremely slow how this happens. The truck will actually turn on the hazard lights, call OnStar. OnStar will call 911 if the driver doesn't respond, and the truck will slowly come to a stop. I know a lot of people are thinking, that sounds kind of dangerous. Well, that's probably better than losing control of the truck and hitting other vehicles, but that's just the way it's set up. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that have comments on that, and I can't say that I blame you for saying, yeah, I'm not so sure about that. Well, anyway, you do have your rear view camera mirror right here. So you can see right there, you can change that if you want to. And now we move on to the infotainment screen. And there's a lot going on here. First of all, you have your nifty, kind of old school of sorts knob right there for controlling the radio, turning that on and off. And going home, you don't have to hit this area right here. You also have a physical button underneath the infotainment, or excuse me, the radio control right there, the knob. One thing that's interesting here, if you say to yourself, you know what, I really want to change the layout of the screen. I want the Play Store control or selection to be maybe where Maps is. You can do it just like that. If you want to put it back where it was originally, just like that. That's how easy that is to deal with. And you do have wireless connectivity for your phone, Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Here, very easy to deal with. And here with your cameras, multiple views. And before we go any further, you can see we have the front camera up on the screen. I told you earlier about the front camera washer. Here is the control you use to run the windshield washer fluid. And when I told you earlier about that, I said that also runs a stream of windshield washer fluid across the front camera. There is how that works. Whether or not it's on the screen doesn't matter. It's going to do that anyway. But just in case you were curious, there you go. And here's our rear view camera. We'll also have a couple of different overhead views right here in addition to what we have on the left-hand side of the screen right there. And you'll notice when you have the two dots right there, that means obviously you have two different views from that particular vantage point. So if you're curious about that, well, now you know. There is a lot going on here, that's for sure. This truck has cameras literally everywhere. You can even see what's going on in the bed back there. If you see someone taking a nap back there and you want to see who it is, maybe take a closer look. You can hit the arrow right there. Very easy to deal with. And something else that I think is of great interest. Obviously, you have towing and all that good stuff. Your trailering selection right there. In fact, I'll just run in and show that to you real quick just so you can see that. Because since I brought it up, somebody is probably going to ask about it. But you can see what's here. We're not going to cover all of that, but I did want to mention that. Let's go into settings right here, and I'll show you a couple of things that are very important. Obviously, you can see what all is here. Very easy to deal with, but let's go here into vehicle. couple of questions some of you might want answered. So you can see what's here: Super Cruise, lane change. You can make changes there depending on what you want to do. Obviously, there's a lot here. How about your collision detection systems? Well, you can see what all is here: automatic emergency braking, front pedestrian braking. You've got your adaptive cruise control. It's all here. Lane change alert. The seat will vibrate to let you know what's going on around you, or when you're driving forward or backing up, you've got the sensors that go along with that. But one other thing that I wanted to show you here: Teen Driver obviously is here, but remember earlier when I told you about those power assist steps, and you can deploy those if you want to. There's a couple of different ways to do that. Well, you can also come here, you can deploy, and then you can also deploy to bed. And that means that no matter if the doors are opened or closed on the truck, they're going to stay deployed to that particular position. So pretty easy to deal with. There's a lot going on here. I know this may seem a little daunting to a lot of people who maybe haven't had this technology before. I promise you, it's easy to learn and easy to use. Don't worry about it. And right here, you can see that we have the heated steering wheel. Now, for those of you who haven't looked at one of these trucks for a couple of years and you're saying, well, wait a second, I thought when you had Super Cruise, you didn't have a heated steering wheel anymore. Well, that changed for 2023, I believe. I don't think it was 22, I believe it was 23. One way or another, it has changed. You're going to have your heated seats, as you can see, I mentioned that earlier, and the ventilated seats. And watch this. I'm going to reach over here and turn on the massage function for the seats, and you'll have a special screen that comes up so you can go in and make changes and customization where that is concerned. So a lot going on with this truck, to say the very least. All right, let's get out on the road for a quick test drive here with this Denali Ultimate. And listen, that sound is just unlike anything else out there. The growl of a V8 with some really great exhaust, you just can't beat that, at least not in my opinion. Everybody has their views on all of that, but depending on your situation, well, you can go with one of the two engine options depending on what you want. But I'll tell you what, this truck definitely gets up and goes down the road. And let me dispel a rumor out there that you can only use premium gas with this 6.2 liter. You can go with regular if you want to, but for best results, yes, you should use premium, but you don't have to. You also have the Denali suspension with the adaptive ride control. That means this truck's going to ride better than it would otherwise. It does have a pretty good ride quality for what it is, that's a fact. And we're witnessing something unusual here in Shreveport, Louisiana. Do you see that blinker with the vehicle in front of us? Yep, they actually used it, even though they really drug their feet getting around that, turning into that parking lot right there, but that's okay. We're being patient today. Well, maybe some of you are, I don't know if I am. But anyway, we'll cruise on down the road. I'm not gonna get on it real hard because I don't want to take the RPMs too high with this brand new truck, but hopefully you have a good earful of the exhaust from at least the interior. I know a lot of these videos do that from the exterior, but you know what? You're not gonna hear that too often because you're going to be sitting right here where I am. And what is it going to be like when you do? Well, obviously you're gonna have a good, comfortable ride quality. By no means will you feel cramped within the interior. We talked about the length of the cab. There's plenty of space here. Well over 6 feet tall, you're going to be comfortable. Not a problem. In fact, some of you might be extremely tall, 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", whatever the case is. Tell us down in the comments section, depending on your height, what your experience has been driving one of these trucks. I'm always curious to know. And obviously, you're gonna have your different features such as trailer sway control and all of that. It's all here. I probably don't need to tell you too much about that. I mean, this truck literally has just about everything with the exception of running water and a coffee maker built into the truck. Some of you are probably saying to yourself, maybe I should send GMC a note about that. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? To have an automatic coffee maker in your GMC Sierra Denali Ultimate. Now let's see how we can do here on our turning radius. Can we make it without touching the curb here, even if we do? Well, you know what? I did it without that. That's not too bad. We'll get on down the road here and make sure we stay in front of traffic that's coming this way. That's one thing you won't have any trouble with, but even if you go with a 3 liter, you're still going to have plenty of horsepower and torque. And one thing I really like to talk about here that helps those out who are looking at these trucks and saying, wow, I'm really intimidated by all of that technology. I'm never going to use all of it. It's just one more thing to break. That's one of the most common comments I see. Once you start using it and learning it, not a problem. You're going to say, wow, I really like what we have here. It does a really good job for me. I'm glad I went ahead and learned it. So don't let that scare you off. GMC has some of the easiest technology in the industry to learn and to use. It's a good thing. You're going to be happy you did that. Now, you may find yourself in a situation where your salesman at the dealership maybe didn't show you everything that they should have. Well, don't worry about that, because you have YouTube right here where you can go ahead and learn everything you need to. You can watch and re-watch videos. I have a lot of tutorials on these trucks that are real quick, and you can learn everything you need to about what's going on here. One way or another, a very well-rounded truck. Yes, it is a little on the pricey side. I'm not going to deny that. The price is very high. You get a lot for the price, but do you get enough? Tell me what you think. Okay, tell me what you think down in the comments. Does the 2024 GMC Sierra 1500 Denali Ultimate have it all? I'm curious to know what your thoughts are. Tell me down in the comments section. I do want to say a special thanks to my friends at Morgan Buick GMC for loaning me this truck for the day. Remember, if you want to know more about this truck or anything else they have here in inventory at the dealership, take a look at the link down in the description of the video, and that will get you headed in the right direction. I also want to say a special thanks to each and every one of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit the like button. That helps me out a lot. Also, be sure to subscribe if you haven't done so just yet. That way you can see future videos here on the Vehicle Visionary YouTube channel. And if you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.